Previously, you all heard about the early reformers, which included John Wycliffe, Catherine of Siena, and the Cedarist Aramis. Now you will hear about the main reformer, who did most of the work during the Reformation, Martin Luther. Martin Luther was born in Saxony, Germany on November 10, 1483. In 1490, he was sent to the Latin school in Mansfield, in 1497 to Magdeburg, and to Eisenach in 1498. His dream was to be a lawyer just like his father, a dream which completely changed after a few events. He was in a dangerous accident in 1503, then his friend died, and then his own religious development changed his future. The main life-changing event occurred in 1505, when he was in a life-shattering thunderstorm and vowed that he would be a monk if he survived. He got a regular position in the church in 1507, and soon had a feeling that salvation was a gift given by God in return for faith, in return for good works in the church of Luther got outraged after he found out that Pope Leo V was selling false salvation to people who didn't deserve it because he needed money to build a grand cathedral in Rome named St. Peter's. Then he sent a huge list of arguments against the Pope's actions to church leaders that were called the 95 Theses. Even though the church authorities were outraged by that list, he continued to publish pamphlets that explained his thinking.
I strongly believe that only the Bible is the main source of religious authority, not the church. Also that the only true sacraments are baptism and Eucharist. The church's other 5 sacraments have no place in the Bible. Also that Christians should study the Bible for themselves.
In January of 1521, he was no longer a member of the church because the church thought that he was attacking the basic rules of the Catholic religion. He risked his life to take back his teachings before an assembly of state leaders in the city of Worms. The Holy Emperor of Rome declared Luther a heretic and didn't allow the making or printing of his writings. However, Luther didn't give up. The Germans thought Luther was a hero, and Luther continued to make new ideas. He started a new organization which follows his beliefs, converted the Bible to German, and wrote a baptism service, mass, and new sacred songs in German. He also looked to German princes to support his ideas, since he was not allowed to be part of the church. In a peasants' revolt, Luther sided with the rulers instead of the peasants because he wanted the help of Germany's rulers to keep his new church going. Lutheranism, Luther's system of beliefs, continued to grow as there were many wars between Lutherans and Catholics. These wars ended with the Peace of Augsburg, a treaty that was a major victory for Protestantism because Christian unity ended, and not only in Germany. And there were some more leaders after Martin Luther that gave Protestantism a titanic boost. There were many other leaders that were inspired by Luther's ideas, some of which continued on from where Luther left off. One leader was Holderich Zwingli, who was a Catholic priest in Zurich, Switzerland. He persuaded the local government to not allow any worship that was not based on the Bible, and declared its independence from the rules of the local Catholic bishop. He also had a strong belief that Christians should focus only on the Bible, and thus did many things to help others follow that desire.
I strongly believe that all worship should be based only on the Bible. Since my local government rejected my idea, I went on my own. I attacked worship, relics, saints, and images. Only then I got exactly what I wanted. In New England churches, there are now no religious paintings and statues, and the services don't have any music. Finally, the church is pure.
Zwingli died in the war between his followers and his Catholics. Another Protestant leader that came after Martin Luther was John Calvin, who published a book called Institutes of the Christian Religion. It influenced a lot of people.
I strongly believe in many religious factors that I have included in my book, Institutes of the Christian Religion. I strongly believe that salvation comes only from God's grace. Also that the people whom God selected have to live by very strict standards. Thirdly, that hard work and careful use of money are very important factors in one's life. Also that one's success in business is a sign of God's grace.
Calvin also tried to make a Christian state in Geneva that would be ruled by God through the Calvinist Church. King Henry VIII was also a Protestantism leader. He formed the Church of England, also called the Anglican Church, with himself as the head. However, he didn't have major disagreements with the Catholic teaching. Personally, he wanted to end his first marriage, but the Pope disagreed to divorce. Politically, he no longer wanted to share power and wealth with the Church. In 1536, he shut down Catholic monasteries in England and took their possessions. Another leader was William Tinalde, whose views became more and more Protestant after he traveled to Germany and met Luther. Then he attacked dishonest behavior in the Church and defended the English Reformation. He also translated the New Testament and parts of the Old Testament in English. He spent over a year in prison after being arrested by Catholic authorities. He was burnt at the stake in 1536. Those were the Protestantism leaders that came after Martin Luther, and what they did to help during the Reformation. Together, we have explored what the beginning of the Reformation looked like. We looked at all of the courageous heroes that risked their lives just to reform the church within. There are many things that the people of the Reformation did for us. For one thing, they risked their lives just to improve our future. Like Jane Huss was burnt at the stake for expressing his beliefs, Saddam Hussein was hanged for what he wrongly believed in. Just like John Calvin published Institutes of the Christian Religion to convince people to protest, Al Gore published An Inconvenient Truth to persuade people to act fast on saving the environment. And, just like Martin Luther protested to urge people to reform the church, Mr. Henderson protests, in a way, today to urge people to learn new concepts and become educated adults. Now do you see, students, how important the Reformation is and how it connects to our life today? You will learn what happened next, with the next lectures to come. Now to my esteemed colleagues of my period whose lectures cover the next part of the Reformation. Professors Charles, Devek, Anusha, Anisha, Ashley, and Shivani. Thanks for listening.